Things aren't going great for the Browns right now at 2-7, and they might have to go get worse before it can get better. For anyone watching right now that wants the Browns to go out and draft a quarterback, maybe Shedeur Sanders out of Colorado, I've got some bad news. So Deion was on an FS1 show yesterday, Speak, and they asked him about, hey, do you think you could do something like what the Mannings did with Eli when they prevented him going to play for the Chargers and got him to go play for the Giants instead? And Shedeur said that he could see himself stepping in if a team is interested in his son Shedeur that he does not want to see Shedeur go out and play for. When asked about this, he said, yeah, but I'm not going to do it publicly. I'll do it privately. Got to be honest with you, I'm not surprised by this. I mean, I've been saying for a while on the channel, I don't think the Browns are going to get Shedeur Sanders because I feel like this is going to be an NFL royalty situation like the Mannings, where Deion chimes in a little bit in the pre-draft process and goes, this team, and this team cannot draft my son. Whether or not they follow that, I don't know. We've seen a lot of teams draft players who they were told not to draft. It happened with Bo Jackson and the Buccaneers. It happened with Elway and the Colts. It happened with Eli and the Chargers. They all took them, and the player did not play for that team. But I'll say right now, no chance that Shedeur Sanders plays for the Cleveland Browns. I understand that that's not maybe what you want to hear, but I'm going to be the bearer of bad news and say what we're all thinking. Deion is not going to let his son play for Cleveland. I don't need to go down a rabbit hole to refresh everyone's memories on the Browns' struggles since 1999. Jameis Winston gets set for his third start on Sunday. He'll be the 28th quarterback in Browns history to start 3 games since 1999. Do you think Deion is going to let his son join that club? No chance he does. And then after Deion gave that response on that Speak show, they were trying to pull a little bit more out of him, going, hey, don't tell us, teams that you can play for, but maybe just give us some regions that you could see Shedeur playing in. And Deion did not take the bait on that, but he did say there could be some qualifications he looks for. He said, somebody that can handle the quarterback that he is. Someone that has had success in the past handling quarterbacks, or someone in that organization that understands what they are doing. I've never seen someone use so many words to describe the Cleveland Browns before. I mean, he is talking about the Browns here, right? He wants someone that knows what they're doing with the quarterback. Unfortunately for Kevin Stefanski, he's had a lot of different quarterbacks, and they gave him a very expensive one in Deshaun Watson, and it's been an absolute blunder. So there's no way you could look at that and think, yeah, Deion's probably not talking about the Browns there. Of course he's talking about the Browns. Someone that knows what they're doing with the quarterback. The biggest mark against Stefanski right now is they did not figure out something to do with Deshaun Watson. And I'm not putting all the blame on Stefanski, but there's some blame that can go around, and ultimately it was a failure with Watson. It was. So he's talking about the Browns. He said that he won't do it publicly, meaning he's not going to tweet out, my son will not play for Cleveland. But in the pre-draft process, when all those meetings are going on and whatnot, he's going to let Cleveland know, do not take my son, because he's not going to play for you. And we'll talk about whether or not that's a fair or right thing to do in just a moment here, but do you guys want to draft Shedeur Sanders? Like, if you were to put everything Deion said to the side, do you want to use the first-round pick that Cleveland has for the first time since 2021 on Shedeur? If you know he's going to play for you, is that something you'd be interested in? Give me a yes or give me a no down below in the comment section. Initially, I think it's a little, just a little, I wouldn't say premature, but it's just a little, high schooly to be like, my son's not going to play for this team. But after seeing what's going down right now in Chicago with the Bears, I can see where Deion is coming from. Caleb Williams, he was the number 1 prospect for 2 straight years, the number 1 overall pick. And after 9 games, things are not going as hoped for in the Windy City. And so after seeing what Williams has gone through with the Bears, I can see where Shedeur comes from when it comes to not wanting to see his son go play for a franchise that is dysfunctional and is not prepared to handle a rookie quarterback and develop that rookie quarterback. I mean, just give me 1 minute here to do a quick Bears breakdown on why Caleb Williams has had a bad start to this year in Chicago and how it's not just because Caleb's a bust. I don't think he's a bust at all. But the coaching staff is an absolute failure. I mean, the Bears have fired 2 offensive coordinators in the 2024 calendar year. And one of those guys they fired has been fired twice. I mean, think about it. Head coach Matt Eberflus picked Luke Getsy to be his offensive coordinator, fired him in January. He then goes to the Raiders. He gets fired a few weeks ago. And the guy that replaced Luke Getsy, Shane Waldron, was fired earlier this week after scoring 1 touchdown amid a 3-game losing streak. I mean, just those types of decisions, they are rotten to the core for the Bears of not having a good head on their shoulders. So, of course, when they select Caleb Williams and he's super talented, we're going to learn that he can't do everything by himself. He can't overcome what is an absolute dumpster fire of an organization at the top down. And I could see Deion looking at that and going, I'm not going to let my son go to what happened to Caleb Williams. We saw how talented he was at USC. And right now, Bo Nix in Denver's out playing Caleb. And that's not because Bo's a bad quarterback and he's just in a better situation. Bo's a talented quarterback as well, but he's got Sean Payton and he's got a good support system in Denver, and he's not throwing to DJ Moore or Keenan Allen, and he still leads the NFL in touchdowns amongst all rookies. It's very important where these rookie quarterbacks get drafted to. And I do believe that take quarterback A and put him on team 1 or team 2, and there are going to be very different career paths. There's a reason why teams like the Bears, the Browns, the Jets are constantly cycling through quarterbacks. It's not just because they keep picking the wrong guys. It's because they don't have good systems in place to bring up and nurture and coach and develop these young quarterbacks. So ask me that question a few years ago. I go, can't believe he's going to handpick where his son goes. Or not handpick, but have a say in where he ends up. Look what's happening to Caleb Williams right now. And I'm not surprised that he does not want to see his son go through the same issues. And the Browns, how can I stand here right now and tell Shedeur and Deion, no, that wouldn't happen in Cleveland. They got a great track record with quarterbacks. Who are we kidding, guys? Sanders, by the way, he's been awesome. I mean, he has been one of the most resilient quarterbacks in college football the last 2 seasons. I mean, Deion made a point in that interview to talk about how he has played started every single game in high school and every single game in college except for 1, I believe. So kudos to Shedeur for taking a beating and getting up every single time. He's got really good arm talent. He's not as mobile as maybe you think, just given the name Sanders and prime time and everything his dad was able to accomplish in the NFL. I don't think he's got that level to his game, but I do think he's got great athleticism and incredible arm talent to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. So with that all being said, what did the Browns do here moving forward at quarterback? You're not going to like this opinion, but it's a combination of what I think's going to happen and what I not want to see happen, but what's realistically going to happen. And that is probably going to be Deshaun Watson or a bridge quarterback starting under center for week 1, 2025. And we'll do a deep dive on that in the second half of the video. But quick reminder to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We got free daily content. We do watch parties here. We'll be live for the Browns-Saints game, so come hang out with us on Sunday. Latest news and rumors, and we are closing in on 40,000 subscribers. So if you are looking for a free Browns YouTube channel, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button down below. Now, I do want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, and that is Ollie. Clean, fresh nutrition for your dog. Right now, Ollie is offering a fantastic deal to let your pup taste test a personalized meal plan. Get 60% off your first box of meals when you use promo code ChatSports at ollie.com. In 5 flavors they'll absolutely love. You don't have to be a vet to know that feeding your dog real whole foods with minimal processing is one of the best choices you can make for their health. Here's how it works. Fill out Ollie's 30-second quiz, and they'll create a customized meal plan. Ollie then crunches the numbers and recommends the right recipe and daily portions for your pup. You could take it from me personally. I started using Ollie for my dog Cruz, who has a sensitive stomach, has been on the same kibble ever since she was a puppy. Every time we try to change her off of it, her stomach gets upset. So we slowly started incorporating Ollie into her diet. And I'm not kidding you when I tell you she is gobbling down her food more than she ever has before. She is the captain of the Clean Bowl Club, and she loves Ollie. So if you're trying to get some more healthy food for your pup, because healthier food leads to longer lives, then Ollie's an awesome spot for you. Head to ollie.com. Tell them all about your dog. Use Chat Sports, and you'll get 60% off your first box of meals when you subscribe today. Head to ollie.com and enter code Chat Sports to get 60% off your first box. They'll offer a clean bowl guarantee on their first box, so if you are not completely satisfied, you can get your money back. I put all that information in the comments and description of today's video. Let's talk about where the Browns go from here at quarterback. If it's not going to be Shedeur in round one, okay, who's going to be starting under center in week 1, 2025? The easiest response would be the incumbent, Deshaun Watson. He's the starter. He's under contract. It would default back to him when he's healthy. I'm not so convinced of that anymore. I used to be like that a few weeks ago, just knowing the investment the Browns have made in him, the way he played before he got injured, and that might, kind of lure the Browns to feel like, okay, let's pursue this for another year. But after listening to Andrew Berry speak to the media earlier this month saying, our focus with Deshaun, I would say for any player with a season-ending injury and a major injury, is first and foremost with the recovery and to make sure that he gets healthy from the Achilles injury. Everything else we'll deal with at a later moment. So after listening to Andrew Berry say those words and then being reminded about what he said for almost a identical situation last year, season-ending injury, wasn't playing super duper well, but was playing well before he got injured, and Barry had these words to offer. Yeah, we feel good about Deshaun. Yeah, we see how talented he is. We could see it since he returned from his last injury, the level that he is able to play. He's smart, he's physically tough, he's mentally tough. He really is, as Kevin Stefanski's mentioned. He's the leader of the team, and we're excited to get him back for 2024. I mean, those are wildly different responses from this year to last year. Our first and foremost priority is getting him healthy. In 2023, it was, we're excited to get him back. It doesn't seem a whole lot of excitement to get him back for 2025. So here are the 5 quarterback options in my mind for the Browns in 2025. 1, the incumbent, Deshaun Watson. 2, a rookie. Draft him, toss him out there, start him. Round 1, round 2, round 3, doesn't matter. Jameis Winston, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, or a bridge free agent quarterback. Let's go step by step here. Let's start with Deshaun Watson and the possibility of bringing him back. First and foremost, it's important to acknowledge the financial side of things here. The only way the Browns could move on from Watson is if they designate him as a post-June 1 release, which would still bring on a $118 million dead cap hit for 2025. Do you guys know what the salary cap is projected to be for 2025? About give or take $275 million. They can't do that. They cannot. I don't see a world where they can financially move on from him by just an outright post-1 June release. Maybe they restructure his contract, lower his cap hit for this year, push money into void years. But just surface level here, without doing a bunch of gymnastics, this seems borderline impossible. Now, if they hold on to Watson for 2025 and then move on from him in 2026, so we're talking not just this upcoming offseason, but the next offseason, then his dead cap hit goes down to $72 million. This is manageable. The Broncos are doing this right now with Russell Wilson. They are 5-5. So it's not an absolute death wish. So I don't see a world where the Browns can release or move on from Deshaun Watson unless something drastic changes to his contract or he agrees to have it. He's not going to have it ripped up, but if they tell him, hey, we're going to bench you unless you agree to your release and no longer the guaranteed money, but still, that just seems impossible. So don't even go down that hole. All right. So if they're not going to move on from Deshaun Watson, they could bench him and they could start a rookie. There's not a whole lot of great quarterback options in this draft class. There's some, but there's not a lot. Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders are the top 2 quarterbacks in my eyes for the upcoming draft. I don't think Quinn Ewers has shown us enough to believe he's going to be ready to start week 1. Carson Beck sucks. Jalen Milroe has played better as of late. Dylan Gabriel I don't see translating to the NFL very well. But I also think it's worth noting, look at the upcoming NFL draft order. I mean, this is going to change, of course, but the Jags are going to stick with Trevor Lawrence. However, the Giants are definitely going to take a quarterback. The Titans are probably going to take a quarterback, and they're slotted to be above the Browns right now. The Raiders are definitely going to take a quarterback. So I can look at 3 teams right there that in my eyes are virtual locks. 2 at least, 3 are probably going to take a quarterback. And as long as 2 of those teams finish ahead of the Cleveland Browns in the draft order, the Browns will have no shot at Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders, even if they wanted to. So we have to wait until Week 18 finishes up to have an idea as to whether or not it is realistic for the Browns to go get a quarterback in round 1. They can go draft one in rounds 2, 3, or 4, but at that point in the draft, it's very unlikely that quarterback would be ready to start week 1. So now we turn to the next option, and that is you got 2 other guys on the roster, Jameis Winston and Dorian Thompson-Robinson. These next 8-9 weeks are going to be crucial for their future in Cleveland as a potential starting quarterback. If Jameis Winston plays lights-out football, kind of like Joe Flacco did when he came off the couch, I have full confidence the Browns are not going to repeat their same mistake that they did by letting Flacco go in free agency, and they will re-sign Jameis, and he will be the team's starting quarterback to open up 2025. However, if Jameis doesn't play well, like he didn't last time out, and they go to DTR, and they don't walk away from the DTR experience feeling very encouraged about him being a legitimate starting quarterback for week 1 next year, then you can cross those 2 guys off your list. So if we go back to the beginning, you can't move on from Watson, at least not this year. And there's a good chance that 2 teams finish ahead of you in the draft that need quarterbacks and would take the quarterbacks that are first-round worthy, in my opinion. And if Jameis doesn't play well, which we're in the midst of a Jameis Winston experience, and I'm not very sold on DTR being anything more than just a quality backup, because I've seen, not a ton, but a decent enough body of work to go, yeah, I don't think Dorian Thompson-Robinson's any better than Deshaun Watson. That leaves us to option number 5, a bridge quarterback. And there are some notable free agent quarterbacks coming up. Some the Browns have some familiarity with, right? Jacoby Brissett. He's not going to come back in New England. It'll be Mac Jones for the future, of course. Joe Flacco is going to be a free agent. You can make some arguments here. Like Sam Darnold a few weeks ago looked like he was never going to leave Minnesota with the way he was playing. But now he's kind of turned into a pumpkin. And his time has run out as being Cinderella. And maybe the Vikings are going to come out of this year going, yeah, we're actually excited for J.J. McCarthy to start for us next year. We appreciate Sam Darnold's services, but, I mean, the Vikings did this before with Kirk Cousins. Remember, they had Case Keenum leading them to the NFC Championship game. And they still moved on from Keenum and rolled with Kirk Cousins. So even if Darnold takes them to the playoffs, there's a good shot they move on from Darnold. And that could be a legitimate option for Cleveland. Because a few weeks ago, it didn't look like Darnold would be attainable with the way he was playing in Minnesota. Why would the Vikings let him leave? Now, I could see a world where Sam Darnold is this team's starting quarterback in week 1 next year if the Vikings turn it on over to McCarthy. We have a lot of football left. There's a lot of time in front of us, but if you're like me and you kind of like to start planning ahead a little bit and just start thinking what are some realistic options, I hope you found this video helpful and entertaining. So we'll wrap it up with this question. Will Watson, Winston, or DTR start week 1 of 2025? One of 3 quarterbacks on the roster this year. Or you're just going to take the field, right? A rookie, someone they sign in free agency, maybe they trade for someone. Let me know. Give me a 1 for yes or 2 for no down below in the comment section. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not already. We're going to keep you informed and entertained, like I said, all season long, trying to get to 40,000 subscribers. So hit that sub button down below if you have not already.